Okay, we are up to the Mishnah. Let's start. Kum Len and Ablat Gemara. We are up to the Chav Daled on the very bottom of the page. Today's daf is Chav Hey Amar Aleph. Continuing talking about Kiddush HaChodesh, which we'll do for another short while. Till tomorrow. Maise, there was an incident. Shabo Shnaim, two witnesses came, but Amru, they said Re'inu Shachris b'Mizrach. We saw in the morning the moon on the east side. Two pshatim, whether we're talking about the old moon. Now remember, we learned that between the old moon and the new moon is a 24-hour hiatus minimum, according to Balmoy 48, but definitely 24 hours that you cannot see the moon anywhere. Or we're talking about the new moon that he saw it on the east side of the sun, and the Arvis, but in the evening, b'mayrev on the west side. Now, if we're talking about the new moon versus the old moon, it's impossible. We're talking about the new moon versus the new moon, but before it was on the eastern side of the horizon, now the western side of the horizon. It's also nigh impossible. Amar Rabbi Yochanan said, Benuri, Eide Shekren, but definitely lying. Impossible to be true. Old and new within 24 hours. No. Two different sides of the horizon, no. But when they went to Yavne, Kiblon Rabbi Gamliel, who accepted the testimony and declared the Chedesh Tishrei that day. But Oid Bo Shnaim, another incident, or whatever it was, month. Another incident happened. But Omru, they said, Inu Bizmanoi, we saw the moon at a certain time. However, Ubelele Bure, the following nights, everybody went out to see it. Nobody saw the new moon, which is highly unlikely, because if yesterday the new moon, which was tiny, a speck, was visible to certain people, how is it the next night when the moon is a bit greater, nobody saw it? And yet the Kibbutz Ram Gamliel will accepted it. Amar Rabbi Doisa ben Huknis, Rabbi Huknis said, Eide Shekre, it's impossible. How can you testify a woman gave birth? Tomorrow you see her stomach up to her teeth. In other words, she's still pregnant. Can't be. It can't be that you that yesterday the moon was out there and today it isn't. Amar Rabbi Shua said to Rabbi Doisa ben Huknis, I agree with you. It's not Rosh Chodesh, the 30th day of the month. Rosh Chodesh will be the 31st day of the month. Rosh Hashana will be not today, but will be tomorrow. Sholach Gamliel, who's then the head of the Bezin, sent a message to Rabbi Yeshua, who was his peer, goes, Rani Alecha, I decree, Shetove Etzli, I want you to come to me, B'maklachov Moisecha, with your staff and your money, B'yom HaKippurim, on Yom Kippur, Shechol Li is B'cheshboncha. You're saying that Yom Kippur is the 10th day of the month, of your month, but according to me, it's 11th day. So therefore, according to me, it's not Yom Kippur. I want you to desecrate the Yom Kippur that you have and follow my Yom Kippur. Rabbi Kiva found, Rabbi Gemara will explain, Rabbi Kiva found Rabbi Yeshua was very distressed. Amalai, why? Because he has to go and Mechali his Yom Kippur. Amalai, because he believed that he agreed with Rabbi it's impossible, you have one day to see it, the next day not to see it. Amalai, Rabbi Kiva wanted to appease him, and he said to him, Yesh Lulmai. He said to Rabbi Kiva said to him, let me remind you something that the Bryce will say that you yourself taught us. Whether you agree with it or not, since he's the Bezin and he declared that Rosh Chodesh is today, that's it. It says in Pasuk, Eile Moyadeh Hashem, Mikroi Kodesh. These are the Yom Tovim that you call forth as Kodesh. Ashetikru Oisam. Now, every time it says the word Oisam is written without a vav. 3 times it says the word Oisam. As if you read it, it's Atem you. So Bein Bizman and Bein Shalei Bizman, whether they were the correct time, even Rosh Chodesh declared that Rosh Chodesh was the wrong time, it still fits to be Rosh Chodesh. Says the Gemara, says the Mishnah, Ainli Moedei Sele Elu. These are the only Yom Tovim we have. The ones that the Bezin decides, Chikro Atan, the ones that you declare, regardless of whether it's the right time or not. So Rabbi Shua was appeased. Bo Loi Eitzel. Then he went to Rabbi Doisa ben Huknis. Rabbi Doisa ben Huknis is the one who initially came out against Rabbi Gamliel, and Rabbi Shua said to Rabbi Doisa, what should I do? If we are going to question the psakim of this Bezdin, then we should question every single decree or every single psak from every Bezdin going back to Moshe Rabbeinu. Because once Bezdin hands down the judgment, that's it. It's beyond question. Shenever it says, Vayal Moshe, Be'aron, V'nodav Avihu. Then it says we have the 4 names, and then it says those elder maids. And then it says B'shivim is Ziknei Yisrael, and 70 of the Ziknei Yisrael. Why their names are left out? Lamed, the teacher says, so any three members who are fit to be judges on the Yidden, they form a bezin. They have the same status and the same credibility like the bezin of Moshe. You don't question their psak. Even though I don't agree with him, now that he paskin, I have to submit myself to his psak. So be sure you have no choice. Not makle uma oisel others. So be sure. I mean, just to try to picture this. He thinks it's Yom Kippur and he had to never take his stick and his money. He went to Yavne b'yom shechol Yom Kippur on the day that he reckoned was Yom Kippur. Amad Ram Gamliel unashaka Rosh stood up and he actually kissed him on his forehead. And Amalei said, "Boy b'shalom, come in peace. Rebbe, you're my teacher, and with Talmidi, you're behaving like a student. Rebbe b'chachma, you're much wiser than I am. But Talmidi, she kibalt as the water. But you accepted my psak, and that's an unbelievable thing. Pretty sad story. This is one of the reasons we learned more brachas. Eventually, Gamliel was impeached for humiliating Yeshua the way he did. Says the Gemara of Tanya, we learned. I heard why. You want to know why I decided to accept these witnesses? Because I heard from my grandfather's house. Now, there's two ways of learning Pshat here. If you learn the second way Pshat is, which is that the sun is on the eastern side, the moon is the eastern side of the horizon, it doesn't normally go to the western side of the horizon. So you can say sometimes it does, sometimes the moon's orbit is a bit quicker, and therefore it can go to the other side of the horizon. So that we can learn. The other way of learning is if we learn the first Pshat Rashi, which is the old moon, they saw in the morning and the new moon at night, which is impossible. And Gamliel says, I hold it is possible. No, it's the whole entire Gemara we learned last week. Gamliel disagrees with, and he says that you don't have. There's no 24-hour hiatus between the old moon and the new moon. Pamim, comes a lot quicker than 24 hours. It can be 12 hours. Rabbi Yecha said, my time the Rebbe, what's the svara? What is svara Rebbe? It goes as follows. It says in the pasuk, also yoreach lemoedim. It says that he made the yoreach, the moon lemoedim at fixed times. Shemesh yodem levoy, and Shemesh, the sun, knows its path. What does that mean? Shemesh is the yodem levoy. Only the sun has a fixed orbit, but yoreach, the moon, lo yodem levoy, it can change. He once saw the moon, he once saw the moon that it was there still visible on the morning of the 29th day. And if you see it on the night of the 29th day, then we just learned before the Gemara, not just now, but a few days ago, it cannot be seen for another 24 hours. I mean, you'll have to push over the Chodesh till the 31st day. And that year, the Yom Tov would have fallen out on Friday or on Sunday. We learned before, we try to make sure that Yom Tov does not fall on Friday and Sunday because of the vegetables. So therefore, he was praying that the moon should not reappear the night of the 29th. Shokol Kala Pasik Bay at night of 30th. He took a piece of wood and the Pasik broke and he said, he said, tonight we need to know that tomorrow, 30th day, we want to clear the Chodesh. So we don't want to see you again tonight. We see tonight it's impossible to clear tomorrow's Chodesh. You're here. He spoke to the moon. He told him, go hide. Don't be visible tonight. Amalei Rebbe Rabchia. So Rebbe said to Rabchia, Zil, you know what you should do? Go Ein Tov. Go to this town called Ein Tov, and the Kotshe Liyarcha there form a bezin and be Mekadesh the month, because over there they won't see the moon. The Shalachli, and then send me a message that you did it, Simon, and the sign will be David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayim, which is what we say today. Now Ein Tov was now, in his city, he couldn't form a bezin because everybody like him would have seen the new moon. And if he makes Mekadesh on the 30th, they'll say, well, we saw the moon in Mekadesh on the 30th, it can't be. However, Rashi says, other people said that in his town he couldn't declare it because there was a Gzeda from then before the Gzeda, you can make calendar. One of the first things that they goyim tried to stop the Edens from making the calendar. Tosha says that this Ein Tov was just like the city of Davna. That was a place where the bezin was always sitting to be kaveya the Chodesh, and that's where they gathered together. So therefore, he sent the B'chia not to make up some kangaroo court. He said, go to Ein Tov over there where there's the fixed bezin, and there you will make it, and then you'll have it. Says the Gemara further. Tell them Pamach is once this kasha Shemaim Bab, and it was the cloud the sky was filled with clouds. The need is the Muslim, and they saw the appearance of the shape of a lavanda the Esim B'Tishul L'Chodesh on the 29th day of the month. Kisvuri Ma'am Leimer Rosh Chodesh. The people were thinking to say that it's Rosh Chodesh tomorrow. Ubikshu Bezdin Likacha. They wanted Mekadesh. They saw it on the night going into the 30th, and they thought that's it. It's Rosh Chodesh. They actually saw it on the 29th day. They saw it on the 29th day. So they saw the new moon. So they were convinced that this is Rosh Chodesh. So Rabbi Nula said, I have a tradition from my grandfather. Ein chidusha shel levana. The levana does not renew itself. Chusa me'esim b'tisha yom, less than 29 days, or machz and a half. V'shnei shlishi shor, 2/3 of an hour, v'angi chalakim. And 73 chalakim. You know that it's 1,080 chalakim. And it's interesting, there's a debate when they started using 60 minutes for the hour and all that. But here you see, it seems clearly in the Gemara. Usually we don't find that they talk about our kind of minutes. But here we're talking about our kind of time, 2/3 of an hour plus 73 halakim. With 793 halakim, which is more or less 2/3 of an hour, 73 halakim. So it's interesting. They actually did have our kind of time. So he says, since it's 29 and a half days and a bit, it's impossible to see the new moon last night. That last night, because from the Moiled of the last one till last night was less than 29 and a half days, so therefore it can't be. You didn't see the moon, you just saw something in the cloud. Then the Gemara says, what do you do to make sure that everybody followed him? Well, on that day, the mother of Ben Zoza, whoever he was, died. The Hespeder and Gamil has begotten. Gamil made a eulogy for her. First of all, to make a eulogy for her was something extraordinary, but not only a stam eulogy, it was a very long eulogy. Why? Because you're not allowed to make a eulogy on Rosh Chodesh. So he wanted everyone to realize it's not Rosh Chodesh today. Because she deserved it, because she yedu ha'am shalakitchu bezen chayvun kaj Chodesh. But obviously she had a big schus if Rabbi Gamliel was one who eulogized her at her levaya. Anyway, Halach Rabbi Kiva went and he found the Meitzah. The question is, who was distressed? Me Meitzah. Interesting. You might have to have a minute that Rabbi Kiva was so distressed that his Rebbe had to be Mechal Yom Kippur. It bothered Rabbi Kiva more than it bothered Rabbi Shua. However, they want to say that's not what happened. Toshma, the time you learned Halach Kiva, what's Rabbi Shua? He found Rabbi Shua was the one who was distressed. Amalei Rebbe Mipnei Ma'at Meitzah. Why are you distressed? Amalei Akiva. I'd rather accept upon myself. I should be infirm for 12 months. But not to decree that I should be Machal my Yom Kippur. Do you mind if I tell you, remind you something that you taught us? I might speak. It says the pasuk, Atem, give him 3 times as the word Oisam. Tikra Oisam b'moedim in that parsha 3 times, and each time written minus above. So therefore, it's Atem. Atem afilu shaken, even if you made a mistake. Atem afilu made it. Atem afilu mutoin, even if you were deceived. Mezidim, we already know deliberately. If you want to fix up the calendar so you can, distort, tell witnesses to make up a story and say you did see, and so on. But mutoin means even if you were tricked. Whatever it is, it is. You appease me. Thank you. Always, he went to the basement. Interesting. Why would Rabbi Gamliel force Rabbi Yeshua to come with a stick and not Rabbi Deisa ben Hurkes? And he didn't know Rabbi Deisa ben Hurkes. Rabbi Deisa ben Hurkes was the one that came out actually against Rabbi Gamliel more than Rabbi Yeshua. Yeshua just said, I agree with you. And yet Rabbi Deisa ben Hurkes, he didn't say to they should come to me with a stick on your and your money belt on you the day you calculate Yom Kippur. So Pasha Pshad is Rabbi ben Hurkes, as he told Rabbi Yeshua, succumbed, or he complied. If that's what you say, that's what you say. Rabbi Yeshua maintained that no, if you keep a different cheshbon for Rosh Hashana. So therefore he Dafka insisted Rabbi Yeshua should come and be Machal Yom Kippur. So you went to Rabbi ben Hurkes, told him, why Taka doesn't mention their names? So nobody should say Pliny Moshe Aaron, Pliny another view, Pliny Kalmeidu. Say these guys, do they compare to Moshe and Aaron? They compare even to another view, or do they compare even to Elder and Mater? No. So therefore, why should I listen to the rabbis of today? We don't want them to say that. That's why there's came out nameless to tell you that all rabbis, as we'll see in a minute, in their generation, they are the ones that the Abishta gave the power that you have, the authority that you have to listen to. It says the pasuk, but Shmuel said to the people, Hashem Asher says Moshe was Aaron, the Abisha then made Moshe and Aaron Rosh Hashana as and so on and so forth. The Abisha then made Moshe and Aaron, and then it says in the pasuk, Yishalach Hashem. So Shmuel is going through the different great people that the Eibishter used as his leaders. He had Moshe and Aaron. Then he says, "Vayishalach Hashem es Yerubal." He sent Yerubal, which was soon he was Gideon. There's Bedon, which was soon Shimshon Agiber. There's Yiftach and there's Shmuel. In other words, the caliber of these six people were very different. Moshe and Aaron are there. Shmuel, we know soon is equal, but Yiftach and Shimshon and Yerubal, which is Gideon. Yerubal is because why is called Yerubal? Because you know why he's called Yerubal? Because he caused them to fight with Avodah Zarah Baal. Or in Tanakh it says actually the reason is because he destroyed all the Avodah Zarahs and they wanted to kill him. And his father said, let the gods fend themselves. So let the Baal fight his own war. But we're changing around. We're saying he's fighting with the Baal. Bedon is a Shimshon Agiber. Bedon, the also Bedon. Comes to Yiftach Kemashmoy. That's his name. It says in the pasuk, Moshe Aaron b'Chayna. It says that Moshe and Aaron amongst the Kohanim, Shmuel b'Kodesh Shmoi, those who call the Eibishter's name, and the Eibishter will answer them. So Shakal HaKosov, the Torah, so means Shmuel is equal to Moshe and Aaron. So and then other was we have the other three Shaftim, Gideon and Shimshon and Yiftach. Shakal HaKosov Shleisha Kale Oilim Shleisha Chamuron. Torah compared the three weakest shaftim, the lowest caliber, and the three greatest. Leimelach, Yerubal bedoida, Gemoshe bedoida. Bedon bedoida is Ka'ana bedoida. Yiftach bedoida, Kishmo bedoida. Lalamba teach you. I feel a kawash bekalim. Take even an ordinary person. If Nismane Parnas al Tzibur was appointed a leader of the community and the community wanted him, talking about we had more brachas and end, he had to have elections. He's been elevated to become a leader of a leader, an eminent person. So therefore, you have to accept the Rav, the Rav in your generation. You can't go around saying, "Oh, Amol." You have to view the Rabbanim today as the Rabbanim, and you have to listen to the Psakim. It says, "Uboso el hakoyinim halavim." You should approach the koyin in the Levim, el Hashefa, and the judges Yiriyamim in those days. What other judges would you approach? Which judge you approach? Someone who's not around in your days. We have no choice, but you have to go to the judges in your day. What's the Torah trying to say? It says, he's trying to say, don't say that Amo was better than today, because that's not a wise question. In other words, you have to go to the judges today, and they have the full weight of the law behind them. Not in other words, and actually this pasuk, which is Rashi gives, which says, don't say how come the early days were better, because it's not a wise thing to do, but the fact is they were better, but it doesn't matter. You still have to accept whatever you have. Everything is relative. He stood up, he stood up, he kissed him from his chair, and he kissed him as far as peace to you, my Rebbe, my Talmud. Rebbe Shalamadotani Torah Berabim. Rebbe, you taught Torah Berabim. V'Talmidi Shani Goyzer Lech Gzeila. And you're my Talmud because I am Goyzer of Gzeila. V'Ata Mekayma Ketalmid, and you accept it like a student. Ashrei Hadoy, praiseworthy generation. Shagdoilim Nishmayin Lektani, where the superior ones listen to the inferior ones or to the younger ones. Kavachayim is surely the Kaktani, the younger ones was to learn what it means to listen to a Rav. Mashmas. You have to listen to your elders. You have to listen to your elders. Ella, what is it? He's not talking about halach, he's talking about practically. If we are role models and people who are superior, listen to those who are, let's say, lesser Calvin than them, we're going to say we have to listen to the Rabbani. Hadin Allah in Einan Makirim. We have one more Mishnah dealing with Kiddush HaChodesh. Okay, we said before that you need two Eidim to come front up for a bezin and tell them that it's a Chodesh. So now we know when it comes to money, commercial law and capital punishment, all that we need Eidim, we need judges. Over here, is it more like Eidus, a regular case of Eidus over here when it comes to the Kiddush HaChodesh? It's more a case of just we should know when it is so that we can declare it. So Ra'u Bezin, we'll see. Ra'u Bezin B'chol Yisrael, the Bezin and all the Eden actually saw the new moon, or as we will say, it's a case number, another case. Nechkru Eidim, or not everybody saw the Eidim who came, they were interrogated by day, the 30th day, but they speak by the time they finished interrogation, or as the people all saw it right before night, and they sit down and to make a ruling that it's Chodesh, that today was 30th day, was a Chodesh, too late, nighttime. Harei Zemubi, you have no choice, you have to go to the next day. Let's say the only ones who saw the new moon are all members of the Bezdin. They're the only ones there. It's a new case. Taisa says a Bezdin of 23. Interesting if it holds a Bezdin of 23, because it could really technically be a Bezdin of 3, or it could be a Sanhedrin 71. But Taisa was a Bezdin of 23. So Yam the Shnayim be'id name. Two should stand up and testify for them. That's why you can't be talking about a Bezdin of 3, because then how can two testify in front of one? And so therefore minimum has to be 23. The Yemru Mekudish and other ones, even though they saw the moon, they listened to the testimony and they can say Mekudish. So it seems to me that a witness, someone who could have been a witness because they saw themselves, can turn around and become the judge. Because that's what happened there. They saw the new moon themselves, yet they're sitting there as judges. We'll discuss that in the Gemara. Shloisha v'heim Bezdin, if all three saw and they were a Bezdin, Yamdu Shnayim, and there's no 23, there's only 3 people. Yamdu Hashnayim, 2 of them should stand up. The Yeshiva Mechaber Yachin, get a few other people to join this Yachin, so it should be a Bezdin of 3. We don't want to have a Yachin Mumcha, we have a minimum of 3. The Yidu B'fneiim, so 2 of them who saw will testify. The 3rd one who saw will sit there as a Dayan, together with 2 others. The other Dayanim will join them. The Yemru Mekudish. You can't have a Yachid ruling on his own, even though we can learn Gemara Sanhedrin, you can have maybe a Yachid Mumcha, and here you can't. Says the Gemara, why do you have to tell me that all the Eden saw? If the Bezin saw, it's enough. Itzich, no, it's a chiddush. Something I thought, since all the Eden saw it as well. If are similar, what's the reason Bezin has same Mekudish? In order to teach everyone, to spread the knowledge that there is a chiddush. But if everyone saw, there's no need to spread knowledge. Maybe therefore they can say Mekudish. If I don't even have to say it, it's automatic as Chodesh. Only right now we thought that the only reason why Bezin sits down is because when they make a psak, it becomes public. So, but in this case, you don't have to make a psak to make it public because everyone saw it. And if you don't wait till the next day, that you need a proper like a mishpat, and therefore you cannot do it at night. Keeping the tunnel Bezin Chodesh more as the next part in Mishnah. If everyone saw Nechkru Ein Lumley Wine, the world is interrogated right now. The Gemara thinks that the Mishnah is talking about one case. After they all saw, they were witnesses and interrogated. Why you interrogate them? Says Gemara, no, you misunderstood the Mishnah. Inami, the Mishnah is telling you how to come. Inami, there's another case. Nobody saw, but only the Eidim. Nechkru Eidim, you interrogate them. The problem was when they speak a lemon Kudish, by the time they're ready to pass from the Kudish, it was knocked out. Harei Zemubi have no breda, but to pass it on to the next day. The key one, someone asked a question. The key one, the Tana Achachashecha Hareze Ma'ube, once we know the rule that if it was nighttime, it's too late. You have to wait for another day. You know, if the Bezdin Klal Yisrael saw it, it's too late. You have to wait another day. So surely, in a case where nobody saw it, just the Eidim, and you didn't have a chance to declare it Makudah, should have to wait next day. Why B'chal even learn this case? Why would you think otherwise? So it's if we need it. So I would have thought to have a chakidas eidim kitchilas din. I would have thought the din is that you only can start a court case during the day, but by dinim mamnas, if you started during the day, you can continue into the night. So I would have thought once they interrogate the eidim, that's called a tchilas din. That's the beginning of the court case, and therefore they can continue into the night and they can declare mekudesh. So I would have thought in this case, I would have thought to have a chakidas eidim kitchilas din, like the beginning of the din. Mekudesh kik martin, like the finality of the din. Let them make declare mekudesh by night. We didn't have a din in the moment. You find the same thing a precedent by din in moment is by commercial law. That's not we learned. Din in moment is when it comes to commercial law, done in b'yom. You must start by day of the game in b'layla. You can finish by night. I'm here too. Mikachim b'layla. You finish by night. Commercial teach you otherwise. Maybe takazay. Maybe Taki you could. How do you know you can't? It says that this Choikli Yisrael, we learned before that Choikli Yisrael is talking about pasuk. Think about Chodesh, and it says it's treated as a mishpat. It has to be treated like a din Torah. And Amos have a Choik big mardin. When is the chayk? When is the chak? The ruling. The ruling is always the verdict. The Gemara din. And yet it says, mishpat. It says, so who mishpat? That is mishpat. So we're treating the chayk, the ruling at the end, as if that's the beginning, the mishpat. And what do we know about the mishpat? Ma mishpat b'yayim, mishpat by day, afachanam b'yayim, has to be also by day as well. And we know that we learn from the in Parshas Kiseitze that when does the ruling have to start? Always by day. Then is the Rosh Hashana Daf with Bezin, so two of them stand up as Eidim and testify before the whole Bezin. Why even have Eidus? The whole idea of Eidus is tell us what happened. We know what happened. How can listening to Eidim be any better than seeing it with your own eyes? Says the Gemara. In other words, way Rashi learns, you don't need Eidus at all. Rashi says, who says by Kiddush HaChodesh you need Eidus? That's the most question. Who said you need Eidus at all? We need to know, but we know already what you need Eidus for at all. Tosfos says, no, of course you need Eidus. The question is, but this is Eidus. If we saw it ourselves, we're the Eidim, we don't need to hear it from anybody else. How can hearing it from somebody else be better than seeing it ourselves? And what I'm saying is, it says, the problem was they saw it at night. So if they saw it at night, and tomorrow they're going to make a ruling on what are they making the ruling? If they don't hear it by day from witnesses, what are you ruling? You're ruling something that you saw at night. That means what you didn't, your mishpat started at night. You can't start a mishpat at night, by day. So you have to have Eidim present themselves before you. Because otherwise, it's like you're makabel the Eidim at night. You're starting, you didn't tell at night. If three people saw they were bezin, two of them should stand up, and they should be Eidim and get two more people to join this day. So what's my hachanami say over the same thing? Name Maria. Same question. What do you even need to sit down and have Eidim and everything else? Unless you can tell me the same thing. You're talking about a case you saw at night. At night. We just told us already that if you saw it at night, you have to 23 members of the Bezin saw it, two of them have to stand up like Eidim. So what's the difference? 23 members of the Bezin saw it, just three people of the Bezin saw it, so two of them are Eidim, and this one plus two others can sit down as a Bezin. What are you teaching us that we didn't know already previously? And if they saw it at night, then we know that already. Itzcha, we need it. The ein hayochin nema de asad. The chiddush here is that usually sometimes we say you can have a yochin mumche. Over here we cannot have a yochin mumche. You need to have someone else, two other people sitting together with the dayan. The Saklim, I would have thought, we know when it comes to the commercial law, if somebody is an expert, a mumche, they can judge on their own. So I would have thought the same thing applies over here. When it comes to Kiddush HaChodesh, three people saw it, three members of the Bezin saw it, so two of them will be the Eidim, and the other one will be the mumche who will sit and listen. No, you need a Bezin of three. And how do we know that? Maybe who said Yitaka don't need a Bezin of three? So we're said because we don't have a mumche by Yidin greater than Moshe Rabbeinu. I don't want you to say plural. What you both have to be involved. So we had one opinion before the Gemara to tell you that they both can be witnesses, brothers can be witnesses, but we pass that's not pshat. The pshat is you need a father. The halacha is not like a we need a father and a father. We need strangers to be. And what's pshat and pasuk the Eidim, and what's pshat and pasuk Moshe and Aaron. We need judges of that caliber. We need two judges. We can't have one judge. You need three judges. So the Gemara, okay, but something else we can learn from there. The idea: can somebody who saw something and be act as a witness? Can they also act as the judge? So there's two possibilities. One is where this person actually behaves like a witness, gives a testimony, then he sits down and becomes a judge. He rules on it, and that we're going to say ein eid nasadai. And why not? So Rashbam learns because it says hakosov. It says va'amdu shnei anoshim. Two people have to stand up before the court. So you have to have a court and you have to have the two witnesses, two separate groups. So therefore that exists. So Tosfos says, because they will not be, not Tosfos, but Tosfos that they will not accept the hazamah. The rule is Eidim are not qualified to be Eidim unless you can disprove them. If they have that threat overhanging them, that they can be disproven discredited, found to be liars, and then they will be penalized for it, that will keep them in check. They should tell the truth. But edus that you cannot discredit, and then the edus is not valid because they make up any story. There's no threat over them. So over here, if the aid becomes his own judge, you think he'll accept other witnesses coming and saying you're a liar, you weren't there at the time, you were with us somewhere else? Of course not. So it's edus. That's the reason why. There's other reasons as well, but that's the reason why. So the Gemara asks a question. Here we're not talking about an aid becoming a dayan. We're talking about a roul helyid. This person, these two people who saw the new moon are standing up as witnesses, even though they didn't. The judges, who the rest of the bezin who saw, but they're going to behave as judges, even though they didn't behave as witnesses. But they saw with their own eyes. The fact that they saw, does that already? When does aidus begin? The moment you saw it, or the moment when you testify? So if it's the moment when you saw it, then how can these Eidim become Dayanim? That's the question. Says the Gemara. So my question is, remember, let's conclude from here, the Eid Nasa Dayan, that even though you're a witness, you can still be a Dayan. We're talking about a witness that didn't actually testify, you just saw it and you're suitable to be a witness. Because all of these judges are suitable witnesses, they have to be a Dayan. So Lema Mas, this is like Rabbi Kiva, the Mishnah does not conform with Rabbi Kiva. The time we learned that Sanhedrin saw Reuven, let's say, kill Shimon. So what happens? Miktasan now, so Eidim, Miktasan now, so some of them behave like witnesses, and some of them behave like judges. David of Tafron. In other words, if Tafron holds, just because they saw is not a problem. However, Rabbi Kiva says, Kulon Nasa Eidim, they all become Eidim, they no longer can qualify to be a judge. And the ain aid, not a dayan, and the aid cannot be a dayan. So Rabbi Kiva holds that even if you didn't testify, the fact that you saw with your own eyes basically renders you apostle, disqualifies you from being a judge. Even though Rolo, it seems to me Rabbi Kiva holds that when does aidus begin? The moment you saw. So how can then our Gemara here say that these judges who saw the new moon can then, these people who saw the new moon can turn into judges? Says no raya. You're comparing din and nefashos to the moments. I feel they were given. Ad can Rabbi Kiva hasam ela bedin nefashos. The Rachmana Amar the Torah said v'shaftu ha'eda v'itzilu. The Torah said v'shaftu ha'eda v'itzilu. The duty when it comes to matters of capital punishment, that the judges have to try everything in the power to find some kind of redeeming or some kind of factors or mitigating factors to exonerate this person. Shouldn't be chayev misa. Says silueta. The problem is, if you yourself saw with your own eyes, how are you going to be able to, genuinely find within yourself that this person is deserves to be considered innocent? Given the chazin, the kotel nafshel, how are you going to find this chus on their behalf? So that's only by din of fashas, and for a separate reason altogether. The Kippur says that even though you might not have been started as an aid, you're not an aid until you actually verbalize it. But it doesn't matter because you're not an aid until you verbalize it. Still, you cannot. What do you call it? By din of fashas, you cannot be considered aidis. Here, the Kippur is made that Yerol can be an aidis. Now, why? Either we learn, like we said, because you're not really an aid until you stand up in court and you testify, and here you didn't testify, you just saw it. Or, as Tracy Bamakas Davov says, that in real aid is the moment you saw it, you become Adim. That's why the dinner will see a Karav or apostle. If amongst the Adim there's a relative or apostle, it disqualifies the whole group, even though we didn't even know you existed, because we all became Adim in tandem when the event happened and we all saw it at the same time. So, why aren't you considered Adis? But nevertheless, because if you learn from the pasuk va'amdu shnei hanashim, so therefore it's only a problem if the testimony, during the testimony, you should be three hanashim and the judges, and not you should go from one group to the next group. So it doesn't matter, even though you started your aidus when you saw, but it doesn't have any bearing on the fact that a judge cannot be an aid. Okay, we'll continue with Hashem. But when it comes to Kiddush HaChodesh, if you saw, you can still become a judge. And then we also have a rule, but certain things we dinim the Rabbanon, like Kiddush Kiyum Shalosh, which is the Rabbanon, to verify a star. Not that it's being questioned, but to give a stamp. Then even somebody testified, I know that person, can then turn around and stamp it and say, I'm the judge, and I say that this contract is authentic. Okay, everyone have a good day. See you tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem.
Thank you.